Welcome everyone to the ED Games Expo session on remote tutoring to support learning acceleration that is co-hosted by AmeriCorps and the U.S. Department of Education's Institute for Education Sciences. My name is Melissa Moritz and I will be your host this evening. I serve as the After School and Summer Learning Fellow at the Institute of Education Sciences, or IES. I am so glad you are here with us to learn together this evening. To begin this event, I am pleased to introduce you to Sonali Nijhawan, who serves as the Director of AmeriCorps State and National. Before joining AmeriCorps as a member of the Biden-Harris administration, she served as the Executive Director of Stockton Service Corps and has also held leadership roles in City Year and began her career as a Corps member with City Year Chicago. She has an impressive background in education, and we are so grateful she is here with us. Sonali, over to you.
Thank you, Melissa. Good evening, everyone. I am thrilled to be joining you here today with my colleagues from AmeriCorps, AmeriCorps Seniors, and the Education Department Institution of Education Sciences. My name is Sonali Nijhawan, and I serve as the Director of AmeriCorps State and National. I'm excited to be joining you for this important conversation on the role we play in addressing COVID-19 recovery. I don't need to tell you that this has been one of the most challenging school years in American history. The pandemic has had a devastating impact on so many across the country, and in particular, our young people, who were abruptly uprooted from their school routines to move to a new and very different virtual learning environment. The pandemic has also impacted our educators and caretakers as they too transitioned their work to a virtual environment. And true to form, the resilience and ingenuity of our educators empowered them to advance student learning while also working to meet the social emotional needs of their students in these extraordinary circumstances. Through it all, communities came together in incredible ways to do their best in ensuring that students and educators were supported. I'm excited for you to hear some of those examples from our colleagues in just a few minutes. As we move forward and bear witness to the stark learning recovery that occurred during the pandemic, we see so many needs that need to be filled. I'm proud to share that AmeriCorps and the Education Department Institute of Education Sciences are committed to being part of the solution in meeting these needs. For those that don't know, AmeriCorps is the federal agency of service and volunteerism in America. We provide opportunities for people of all ages and backgrounds to give their time and talent to strengthen communities across the country. Working hand in hand with thousands of local partners, AmeriCorps brings people together to solve problems, expand opportunity, strengthen communities, and unite our nation. Every year, AmeriCorps members and AmeriCorps Seniors volunteers serve in 40,000 locations across the country, in large cities, small towns, and everywhere in between. Our AmeriCorps State, National, VISTA, and NCCC programs engage Americans in intensive service. They help students learn to read and stay on track in school. They rebuild communities after disasters, and much, much more. They receive a living allowance, earn money for college, and gain valuable skills to jumpstart their careers. AmeriCorps Seniors engages Americans age 55 and older in sustained service to meet critical community needs through 3 programs. 2 of these program models are connected to education: mentoring and tutoring children and youth. The Foster Grandparent Program, which is 100% focused on educational outcomes and is actually legislated to support children and youth. And the RSVP Program, which is a program that is flexible and can meet a variety of community needs, from conservation to food security and beyond. About 12% of our RSVP programs are engaged in supporting students. The Biden administration has made COVID-19 a key priority, with focus on reopening schools and addressing learning loss. The administration's American Rescue Plan, ARP, includes nearly $1 billion in funding over 3 years for AmeriCorps. This funding will position our agency and grantees to make significant targeted investments to further support the administration's top priority to provide immediate relief related to the pandemic, with a specific focus on support for underserved and disproportionately impacted communities. We are committed to utilizing a portion of these funds in supporting students, families, communities, schools, districts, and states to deliver the needed resources to get our schools reopened and our students back on track. Today, we have brought together grantees from AmeriCorps, AmeriCorps Seniors, and the Education Department Institute of Education Sciences to share how they pivoted their program models during the pandemic to support students in their academics and the work they are continuing to do to address learning loss. These models all focus on tutoring, an evidence-based strategy to support learning acceleration, yet they each highlight a unique approach. These examples we provide today are just several of the many ways AmeriCorps and the Education Department Institute of Education Sciences will continue to work together to address these crucial community needs. We hope you enjoyed this dynamic conversation. I would now like to turn it back to you, Melissa, to share a little bit about evidence-informed tutoring.
Thank you so much, Sonali. That was perfect. And before we hear from our impressive grantees, I wanted to review with you all a little bit about some of the evidence-informed practices for tutoring. So as you can see, and as we will hear, tutoring is a learning intervention that does have quite a bit of evidence to support its effectiveness as a tool to support learning acceleration. We'll hear from our grantees about some of their unique approaches, but what unites them all is a commitment to utilizing evidence-informed practice. As some of you may know, ED released the ED COVID Handbook Volume 2 recently, and it's meant to support and offer some initial strategies for providing equitable and adequate educational opportunities that address the impact of COVID-19 on students, educators, and staff. Volume 2 focused in on evidence-based strategies for meeting students' social, emotional, mental, and physical health and academic needs. In the section on learning acceleration, Ed noted that high-quality tutoring can be an effective intervention for a wide range of students when implemented in evidence-informed ways. Our speakers this evening will talk about their approaches and how they both build evidence and use evidence in their approach. You'll see a consistent commitment to evaluating their approach when they talk about their programs and what they learned during their pivots that they needed to make in COVID. But I wanted to lay out what we currently know about effective tutoring. First, tutoring works best with highly trained and supported tutors. Tutoring has demonstrated impacts in both in-school and out-of-school time, but the in-school effects are larger. Dosage matters. 3 or more sessions of 30 minutes or more a week is critical to see the outcomes that I know we all want to see. It's also important to align tutoring to an evidence-based core curriculum or use an evidence-based program and practices such as formative assessments in your tutoring approach. If you are conducting a tutoring session in out of school time, which is totally a great option, particularly as we're thinking about this summer and all the work that we'll need to do together in the next school year and beyond, it's really important to emphasize attendance and focus work time to see those positive effects. We also encourage you to continue to build the evidence base as you implement tutoring programs across the country. Much more needs to be understood about what works under what conditions for whom, and we encourage you to continue to evaluate the programs you utilize in your context and to share your results so that we can provide the right sets of tools and supports for each student as we work collectively to recover from COVID-19. For more information on building and using evidence in tutoring programs, feel free to download the ED COVID Handbook Volume 2 or visit the IES website for additional tools and resources on tutoring. It's now my pleasure to transition into a panel to talk about some of the AmeriCorps grantees who can share more about what this looks like in practice. Our panel moderator this evening is Sergi, who serves as the Director of AmeriCorps Seniors. Prior to joining the Biden-Harris administration, she served as a senior leader at Jumpstart and brings more than 2 decades of experience in service, community engagement, and education to this administration. We are so grateful you're here, Atalaya.
Thank you. Thank you, Melissa. Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you to the Department of Education for including AmeriCorps in this year's Expo. At AmeriCorps, we fully understand the benefits of high quality tutoring. And as the director of AmeriCorps Seniors, we fully embrace the added benefits that intergenerational tutoring has on the students and the older adults who serve them. We know that older adults believe they benefit in 4 domains: socialization, productivity, enhanced well-being, and the life satisfaction of the opportunity to participate in new endeavors. And I dare say that your students are gaining these same benefits. AmeriCorps has numerous programs, as Sonali shared, and we do not have enough time to tell you about all of them. So we have invited a few of our programs to share the impactful work they have been doing. So welcome, panelists. We'd love for everyone to get to know you. So let's start. Let's start with Elizabeth. Elizabeth, tell us a little about yourself, the Oasis Institute, and your AmeriCorps Seniors program.
Thank you. So I'm Elizabeth Pawlowski. I'm the National Director of Tutoring Partnerships and Expansions for the Oasis Institute in St. Louis, Missouri. I've been active in volunteer management for over 25 years and with Oasis since 2014. Oasis currently has 7 AmeriCorps Senior RSVP federal grants focused completely on intergenerational tutoring. Oasis Intergenerational Tutoring Program has partnered with school districts across the country for over 31 years, pairing trained older adults to work with K through 3rd grade students that need help with some literacy skills. The tutor is matched with the same student for the entire school year, 1 hour per week, utilizing a 6-step literacy curriculum. Just like many other AmeriCorps Senior programs, we were an in-school program utilizing the magic of real books for a one-on-one tutoring program, though COVID-19 has created a need for virtual tutoring. We currently partner with 630 schools across the country and have over 4,000 tutors serving. Our primary mission is to offer older adults a meaningful volunteer opportunity that makes a difference in their community while decreasing their social isolation.
Thank you, Elizabeth. And we look forward to hearing more about how you transitioned from an in-person to a virtual tutoring program. We also have with us Sarah from Literacy Lab, an AmeriCorps State and National grantee. Sarah, please share more with us about yourself and Literacy Lab.
Sure, I'm Sarah Reep, and I'm a regional director with the Literacy Lab. And Literacy Lab is a national nonprofit that provides individualized reading instruction to pre-K through 3rd grade students from low-income communities in order to improve their literacy skills, which we ultimately know leads to greater success in school and in life. We're a proud partner of AmeriCorps and our fellow panelists, Reading and Math Inc. I want to shout that out too. But we do our work by embedding much needed capacity in the form of full-time, rigorously trained tutors in local schools and early childhood centers. And in effect, we see ourselves serving as an early literacy safety net for communities. We were founded in 2009 in Washington, D.C., and since that time, we've grown to serve 6 regions. So in addition to Metro D.C., we're active in Central Virginia, Baltimore, Maryland, Kansas City, Missouri, Springfield, Massachusetts, and Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The current school year, the Literacy Lab has engaged over 300 tutors and fellows in service to more than 3,500 students across the country. And our tutors and fellows serve in school and provide their students with individualized targeted literacy intervention every school day for the entire school year.
Thank you, Sarah. That capacity building that you're talking about is so beneficial all times, and definitely during the pandemic. Bringing that support to teachers to help them continue to reach their students has just been priceless. Michelle, please tell us about RSVP volunteers, your AmeriCorps Seniors program, and introduce yourself.
Sure. Hi, I am Michelle Mall. I'm the Executive Director of RSVP Volunteers, and thank you for having me on the panel. RSVP Volunteers is a nonprofit organization serving vulnerable populations in the greater Philadelphia area. We have a focus on improving education and wellness. We have been managing an AmeriCorps Senior RSVP grant for over 45 years. Our educational program serves students from pre-K through adulthood including support for literacy, math, and mentoring. Pre-COVID, most of our programming was in person, except for our math program. In 2013, we developed a program called My Free Tutor, our virtual math tutoring program, matching students in need of algebra help with trained and screened volunteers. The pairs use a whiteboard and voice communication to help students grasp math concepts. As a result, 80% of students improved their math skills.
Thank you so much for sharing. It's exciting to hear about your longtime commitment to the academic and social development of all ages. Our last panelist is Anne from Reading and Math, Inc., an AmeriCorps state and national program. Please share with us, Anne.
Hi, I'm Anne Sinclair. I am Chief Learning Officer at Reading and Math, Inc., which is the nonprofit organization that administers Reading Corps and Math Corps programs. I came to RMI because I was particularly impressed that they were combining evidence-based practices with the human power to implement them. We provide high quality one-on-one and small group tutoring to support literacy and math skills in pre-K through 8th grade. Over the past 18 years, we've served more than 300,000 students in 13 states and the District of Columbia in partnership with partners like the Literacy Lab, who's on this panel. And in addition to training tutors in evidence-based practices and interventions, we provide the ongoing coaching support that's necessary to maintain high levels of fidelity to program implementation, which we believe is really important.
Thank you, Anne. The training and ongoing coaching of tutors is so important and supports the continued growth of our students. Thank you for your work. And I want to thank all of our panelists for sharing the work that they're doing in their targeted communities and for sharing how you work with and support your AmeriCorps members and volunteers and AmeriCorps seniors volunteers in that work. We know that COVID-19 upended life for all of us, and it must have affected your program operations. Can you tell us about the changes that you made, how you pivoted your approach to continue to serve the students, teachers, schools, and communities that you're committed to? Elizabeth, share with us how Oasis pivoted.
Thank you. So in March of 2020, when COVID shut down the schools and we all began the longest spring break ever, we were also challenged with how can we keep our Oasis tutors active and engaged virtually? Our tutoring team spent the months of April and May developing and sending a weekly blog with read alouds, literacy lessons, and ways to keep the tutors active and to keep their skills sharp while we waited to see if we were able to go safely back into the schools. We were lucky to have an existing partnership with a local library system here in 2019 to offer free in-person tutoring at 2 of their branches, and we had big plans to increase to 9 branches in 2020. We were able to pivot our plans and offer free virtual tutoring sessions as a pilot with the library as part of their online summer programming. Greatest challenges were logistics. After researching various video conferencing and online reading platforms, we landed on a combination of Zoom and Epic Reading. The tutors were placed in a Zoom breakout room and the students were admitted at their designated times by an Oasis staff member. The tutor then shared their screen and read a book using the Epic platform. Both the student and the tutor could see the book, see each other's faces, and interact with each other. They worked on key reading skills of vocabulary building, expanding background knowledge, prediction, and oral communication skills. The students were immediately connected with the tutors. At this point, the students were very accustomed to talking with someone on a computer screen, and many of the students already utilized Epic in their classrooms. When they were introduced to the tutor, they were ready to go to talk and really seemed to enjoy the session. The students continued to hone their literacy skills while building a mentoring relationship with the tutors. We ended up having 25 tutors that completed the Zoom and Epic training and became virtual tutors. They loved being part of something new and called themselves pioneers in a new form of tutoring. Some things that we learned, some successes: the kids were really accustomed to learning online and were able to keep their academic skill development at a great level. The teachers shared with with us that their students were also, who were matched with a virtual tutor, showed improvement in their reading scores and an increase in the number of books read. Intergenerational connections happened. Tutors and children quickly built relationships, reducing social isolation for both groups. And the tutors increased their confidence in their own technical abilities. And it turned into a reciprocal learning experience in some cases, where the children were able to teach the tutors something about Epic or about Zoom. The children showed their tutors patience and caring, and if they got stuck on a technical issue, they offered a quick suggestion and in turn supported their confidence. We learned that the model can be replaced in school districts, and it's a way to engage tutors and AmeriCorps seniors who may not be able to serve in person. One of the challenges was access to reliable internet and devices. The digital divide is real, both in the urban and rural areas. We had tutors that were willing to serve as virtual tutors, but did not have adequate home internet access or an appropriate device beyond a phone. We also found out that tutors needed additional training with technology and adapting their tutoring sessions to a virtual format. Virtual tutoring was not for everybody. We also developed an old school pen pal program for tutors that did not want to utilize technology, but wanted to stay involved.
Thank you, Elizabeth. In addition to continuing to build academic skills in this new virtual world, you also raised a couple of points about how students had the opportunity to share and teach, which I know really probably improved their confidence in their own learning and ability to share that, and about the continued push we need to make to close the digital divide across our country. So thank you so much. Sarah, please tell us how Literacy Lab navigated the pandemic.
Sure. So as an organization that works in full partnership with local schools, it was critical to us to be able to walk hand in hand with our schools into this challenging school year in whatever form the school year took for them. And so when schools closed suddenly in spring 2020, we made a pretty early commitment to keep our tutors in active service for the remainder of the school year and to continue to be a support to schools as they were beginning to grapple with how to address this unanticipated switch to remote learning. And so this provided a great time for innovation. In many cases, our students and schools did not have immediate access to full live virtual learning opportunities due to some of the reasons Elizabeth mentioned, lack of access to devices and connectivity. So in response, our tutors and fellows created hundreds of unique print and digital learning materials, which included some recorded literacy interventions that they would typically do in person to distribute to our schools and our families. And then in cases in which schools were able to implement some live, immediate virtual learning, tutors began early testing of live virtual tutoring. And then we took those lessons over the summer, reflecting on our experiences in the spring, refining strategies, and generated training and support to meet a variety of service delivery scenarios. We prepared for in-person services with adaptations to meet new health and safety guidelines, virtual services with students and tutors connecting remotely, and then hybrid scenarios where maybe the student was in the building, but the tutor was at home and vice versa. We expected to see a little bit of all of it. This involved investing in technology to equip tutors who did not have personal access. We aimed to recruit a diverse and representative team. And so we wanted to ensure that not having access to a personal device was not a barrier to participation. And then in the virtual space, we adapted our model from a 1-to-1 to a 2-to-2 model with 2 tutors working together with 2 students at a time to both increase student engagement in the online format and also to meet enhanced safety and security measures with students logging in from home. And so while we of course saw impacts to service delivery due to COVID, such as slightly later tutoring timelines due to delayed school starts in the fall, we're proud that we were able to preserve all of the core components of the evidence-based reading core model that we use. All of our assessments were in place, all of the same interventions, similar levels of dosage, and so on. And these efforts have paid off, as we've had tutors in each one of these scenarios across the country over the school year, and they've been able to deliver interventions pretty seamlessly as schools have shifted from one situation to another throughout the year. And we're seeing growth in our students in a year when the national narrative is that gaps are increasing. Our tutor retention has been incredibly strong this year, And we've had more direct engagement of families than ever before. And so we're really looking forward to applying our experiences and learnings from this year to our work moving forward.
Thank you. And thank you for speaking about how you supported both parents and teachers and continue to do that in the changing situations in schools. I'm sure that the materials that your AmeriCorps members created were just a huge benefit to families when children were home and to teachers as they started to move back into schools. Michelle, what impacts did you feel and how did My Free Tutor pivot to meet this moment?
Sure. All of our programs pivoted to virtual once the schools closed in March of last year. Although pre-COVID, My Free Tutor provided virtual tutoring across the academic year, it was originally focused on middle school students with algebra. But post-COVID, our program expanded. During COVID, we saw a tremendous need for math support among families with elementary age students. And COVID put a lot of stressors, as you can imagine, on parents. Learning at home was a challenge for many. So with that, parents were then forced to be providing that tutoring for their students, but many of the parents had learned math much, much differently than their students are taught today. So with that, we had a request from one of our school districts to expand our virtual math tutoring to include 4th grade students and above. And that we have done, and it has been a tremendous comfort for the families, especially with a lot of the after school resources discontinuing because of COVID. So we were able to fill that gap. In addition, this summer, we're partnering with Norristown School District to offer a summer math program for rising 3rd and 4th grade students to help get them back on track and better prepared to begin in the fall. Norristown School District has identified this age group as being most in need of extra supports at this time. And students will be participating in 40-minute sessions twice a week for 6 weeks during the summer. And this will be in conjunction with their summer programming that's offered through their school.
Thank you. Having already had a virtual math program was definitely a benefit, but it's exciting to hear how you continue to push and expand your services. And please share with us how Reading and Math Inc. overcame the challenges of the pandemic.
Thanks. I'll share a few areas where we changed. First was training. Pre-COVID, we provided initial training to tutors in convention center settings with hundreds of people in the same places. We were able to quickly change to a virtual training model and provided the same level of high quality modeling and rationale for tutors in initial training. We were able to scale a menu of training, including diversity, equity, and inclusion training for all members because of this digital training platform. And we continue to provide the coaching support, practice, and performance feedback necessary to maintain those levels of fidelity virtually. In addition to pivoting our training model, we adapted to meet the unique needs of individual schools in virtual and hybrid environments, much like Lit Lab, on the platforms that schools and districts were using to reach students. So we trained tutors to implement the same interventions we use in person, tutoring virtually. In some cases, there were students who were struggling to attend whole class virtual environments, but they were attending virtual tutoring sessions with us because of the one-on-one relationship that tutor had built with those students. And finally, one more silver lining to share is that we started a small pilot in Minnesota this year to offer tutoring supports directly to families who did not otherwise have access to Reading Corps and Math Corps service through their school. And we were able to interact with families and caregivers in ways that we haven't in the past. We served over 700 students this way, and families were really appreciative of the service, and they also were able to give us feedback to improve those services. So those are some of the things that we learned this year.
Thank you, Anne, for sharing those silver linings. Student attendance, training, being able to continue to reach those that you wanted to serve. COVID-19 has definitely pressed us all, schools, districts, AmeriCorps and AmeriCorps seniors programs, to change and innovate. We've learned some lessons, things we want to change, things we want to keep, things we might want to totally leave behind. But before we end, I would love for the panelists to share a little bit more about their work. Elizabeth, as you began to plan for the return to in-person tutoring in the fall, what components of your 2020 pivot will Oasis Tutoring continue in its programming as you move forward?
Yes, so the pandemic has allowed us a unique opportunity to expand our curriculum to better meet the needs of our tutors and students. Beyond the traditional in-person tutoring program, we are now offering our partnering school districts a choice of adding either virtual tutoring or Postal Pals program as options for the fall school year. These two alternatives will allow us to recruit and place additional tutors that may be limited in their volunteering due to transportation or mobility issues, and allow us to serve more students in the classroom. We know how important this extra support will be as students return to in-person classroom learning in the fall.
Thank you. Meeting schools where they are and giving them choices about serving their families is definitely a lesson to keep. Sarah, tell us about the role you see Literacy Lab playing in supporting our educational talent pipeline.
Yes, I would love to. So in addition to our work with students, the Literacy Lab is dedicated to recruiting, training, and retaining talent in the education ecosystem. For many of our tutors and fellows, participation in our program is their very first exposure to working in education. And through those strong relationships they form with their students, combined with our strong structure for coaching and support, we consistently see tutors and fellows form sparks and get curious about careers in education. And so because of this, we form intentional partnerships with teacher residencies and degree programs in our service communities to help our tutors and fellows connect with next steps. On average, we've seen that more than 50% of our folks go on to careers in education after their service with us. And in some regions and some years, that number's been as high as 75%. Many eventually end up working in Literacy Lab partner schools, which we of course love. And with the national teacher shortage predating COVID and predicted to grow post-COVID perhaps, we see our organization playing an important role in the education talent pipeline. Additionally, we employ strategies to ensure representation of educators of color in the workforce. In particular, our Leading Men Fellowship focuses on providing a foundation for men of color to pursue careers as educators. And given that the U.S. Department of Education has shared that Black males make up only 2% of the entire teaching workforce nationwide, this is a huge area for growth and a critical need to advance educational equity. And we're happy to play an active role in this work.
Thank you. It's so important that we have organizations like you who are supporting people to pursue this career path. Michelle, you spoke about the expansion of your RSVP tutoring services to younger students, but I understand that you also provide virtual math tutoring to older students. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. Yes, in addition to the 4th to 12th graders that we offer our math tutoring to, we offer tutoring for first-generation college-bound students enrolled at Cheney University. The school provides us with the course syllabus, and we're able to help the students prepare for their upcoming semesters. Our volunteers work on math foundations to ensure students have the tools they need to succeed. In addition to the 50 students that we've served at the university so far this year, we also provide math tutoring for first-generation college-bound veterans that are enrolled at the Veterans Upward Bound program through the University of Pennsylvania. And we help them to succeed in continuing their education as they go on to college.
Thank you. I love that you continue that support into higher education and your focus on first generation students. I know your tutors are helping them with their math, but I'm sure they're helping them navigate that environment as well. And we are almost at the end of our time. Tell us, looking ahead, what is one way you recommend addressing learning opportunities interrupted by COVID-19?
Sure. As a high quality, high dosage tutoring program, we believe we are one of many solutions that work to improve student outcomes. High quality tutoring continues to be highlighted as a solution to disrupted learning, as seen on resources like proventutoring.org. So we are doubling down on our efforts to grow and scale our work and our partnerships. We qualify as one way that school districts can use ESSER funds to apply evidence-based solutions in schools. We've been delivering high-quality tutoring intervention services for nearly 20 years, and we hope to have over 3,000 tutors on the ground across the country this fall. We're strong advocates for getting strategies that work implemented at scale to address learning opportunities interrupted by COVID.
Thank you, and excellent. I want to thank our panelists for sharing today, and for the service you, your organizations, your members, and volunteers provide to students, families, and communities. And I want to thank the Department of Education just one more time for inviting AmeriCorps to participate in today's expo. And I thank you to everyone who has joined this evening. I'm going to turn the show back over.
Amazing. Wow. You all, I just loved, thank you for joining and sharing more about your programs, from offering choice for children and families to meet the different needs in terms of virtual or in person, to engaging families meaningfully in your approach, to building the educator and building and diversifying the educator pipeline, all while maintaining a focus on evidence-based and evidence-informed practice. Thank you. Thank you for the work that you do and for sharing it with us today. It is my pleasure to introduce you all to 4 IES grantees that offer remote tutoring supports aligned to evidence-based practice. We're going to do this by showing you a few demos so they can really showcase the technology that exists to support the remote tutoring and the robust programming that they've built out. The first one today is Assessments. Assessments is a platform to support teachers and students with immediate feedback that is expanding to also support tutoring. An experiment that was conducted by SRI International tested Assessments' efficacy and showed 75% more learning in classrooms that used Assessments when compared to learning that normally happens in a year. That study has a strong rating from Evidence for ESSA. Assessments and the new tutoring infrastructure they've built have been funded through multiple federal grants, including IES and NSF, as well as outside philanthropic funding.
Hello, I'm Christina Heffernan, the Executive Director of the Assessments Foundation. Assessments is a forever free online platform for teachers and students. With Assessments, teachers can assign online through their core curriculum. It is one of 3 middle school math interventions with a strong rating from Evidence for ESSA. This year, we've introduced a dashboard that's for tutoring. We've always thought of ourselves as a tool for teachers, and we're excited to introduce a tool that's also for tutoring. Before the tutoring can begin, the teachers use Assessments to find and assign their content. They select problems from our library of content with curriculums such as Engage New York, Open Up Resources, and Illustrative Mathematics. Once the problems are selected, the teachers can assign to their class through their LMSs, such as Google Classroom or Canvas. The students then solve the problems, put their answers in, and get immediate feedback. Finally, the teacher can access and interpret the data report. Once the students are finished, they log in and view the report that shows how well each student did on each problem. Teachers love Assessments because it saves them time grading, aligns to their core curriculum, and creates an atmosphere designed around feedback. It's about learning and improving, not about right and wrong. Tutors love our Tutoring Dashboard because it gives them the data they need to integrate with what is happening in the classroom. Tutors select the students they will be working with and then analyze the data before meeting with the students. They can see the tutor's performance compared to the class, as well as detailed data about each assignment and each standard. We partnered with a tutoring company, Signition, to use our new dashboard. Let's hear from one of their tutors about how she was able to use the data to integrate with the core curriculum.
Hello, my name is Rhonda Pena, and I am the 2019 Texas Elementary Teacher of the Year. I recently retired after 30 years of teaching, and I'm currently a virtual math tutor with a company called Signition. This spring, I was part of a pilot program that used assessments data aligned with Eureka Math to support the preparation for our tutoring sessions with pairs of students. I was so impressed with how easy it was to access the data on assessments. Not only did I have a direct insight into the students' strengths and weaknesses, but I could also see examples of the problems that they were struggling with. And this was extremely beneficial and time-saving because I didn't have to do the legwork, assessments did. Alongside the great tools that Signition provided us during this time, I was quickly able to dig into the students' misconceptions and support them so that they could feel successful in their math class the next day.
We are actively seeking to serve more students and are excited to have conversations about how this flexible infrastructure can support quality, low-cost tutoring in district.
Wonderful, thank you. I just love how they are making teachers and tutors' lives easier through easy access to data and really helping to ensure that those evidence-based practices are followed. As a former classroom teacher, I can easily see how that would save a ton of time. Next up, we have A2i. A2i Tutoring provides anyone, whether they're a certified educator or volunteer, with the information they need to meet the individual learning needs of their students. A2i Tutoring assists adults by providing data that effectively informs tutors of instructional recommendations that are proven to improve student outcomes across 7 randomized controlled trials. They've done 7 randomized controlled trials to ensure that each child is getting exactly what they need to be successful for literacy growth. A2i has been supported by multiple grants from the U.S. Department of Education, including several from the SBIR program and an EIR expansion grant. Let's learn more about A2i.
Our innovative and groundbreaking A2i software platform, backed by rigorous research, first began as a literacy outcomes tool for educators. After our successful rollout in districts across the country, we found ourselves called to customize delivery even more as our users shared with us their rapidly changing needs to support outcomes. At the behest of the U.S. Department of Education, we have now expanded beyond our focus of empowering teachers with actionable data in a sleek format to supporting a child everywhere learning can take place, including at home, with a tutor, or during summer school or after-school programs. Our software platforms are tailored to be used by all types of educators, including teachers, summer program instructors, caregivers, and tutors. Our technology provides users with online quizzes that identify a child's unique instructional needs and also include lessons or activities, quiz scores, and actionable data. Armed with these resources, users can effectively see what students need, utilize the differentiated recommendations, and align across learning communities using common measures, language, and data. For more information, visit www.learningovations.com/community or join us for a live demo and Q&A session.
Wonderful. Thank you, A2i. Oh, talk about comprehensive, in school, out of school, summer. I just love the acknowledgement that learning happens everywhere and the working to make sure that students are able to sort of seamlessly access that learning. I'm excited to introduce you all to Saga Education, and in particular Saga Coach, which is a free self-paced training program for pre-service tutors, paraprofessionals, and academic mentors working with K-12 students. It is based on Saga Education's 17 plus years of experience, turning non-education specialists into highly effective tutors. Saga's platforms for tutor training and online tutoring in mathematics, Saga Connect, are both built on technology that was developed with funding from IES's SBIR program. Let's learn more about Saga Coach.
Saga Education is a nonprofit, and we're a trusted national leader in implementing effective, high-dosage, high-impact tutoring models. And given the magnitude of the effect of COVID-19 on the K-12 education landscape, we launched our Saga Widespread initiative to extend our impact through partnerships. Because at Saga Education, we recognize that unprecedented challenges require big ideas. The first step in that direction is Saga Coach.
Welcome to your very first module in Saga Coach. I'm so glad that you're here. If you're engaging in this training, that means that you've decided to take on the role of being a tutor. And not just any tutor. Your commitment to completing this training means that you want to be a great tutor. The Saga Coach tutoring course provides the building blocks necessary for you to become a high-quality tutor. This, combined with continued coaching from your organization, is a proven path to becoming a success.
As tutors work through this training course, Denise, their coach, is with them every step of the way. From Saga's training, we know reflections are a powerful tool to help them on their journey, and this is an example of just that.
Saga Coach is a good fit for someone who is new to tutoring because it takes you through the process step by step. It lets you get some practice, answer some example questions, and get you used to what being a tutor looks like, because that might be different from what you expected.
The modules that make up this training cover 3 core topics that are central to tutoring effectively. The modules are grouped into 3 R's. Relationships dives into a tutor's own educational journey and how it informs their practice. Ratio shines a light on what a high-quality tutorial looks like. And rigor explores topics like lesson planning, analyzing student work, and more. This type of interactive experience with auto-grading is just one of many examples of the ways we engage the learner. The technology that provides this type of learning was originally developed with funding from IES-supported program and continues to be used en route math by math teachers for formative assessment. This is a great example not only of flip cards, but Saga Coach's use of visuals to bring some lightness and humor to the work. A challenge in online learning is to ensure that it still feels real and to keep a sense of lightness and fun. I think this is a great example of just that. Another important part of learning is to look at real scenarios to understand the learning in action. Let's take a quick look of an example.
Anaya, I see that you're upset. Can you step outside with me so we can talk? What's going on, Anaya? Did something happen?
I'm so sorry for not doing my work. I'm just so mad.
Creating caring relationships with students is key to effective tutoring and at the heart of Saga's training.
We believe every student will benefit from the power of personalized support, because when every student has access to a relationship that helps them see their potential, every student can achieve it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much to the Saga team. I love the open access to high quality training for any tutor anywhere is really exciting and has huge potential in terms of scale. Plus the, helping to better understand some of the tutor moves through that training is a great example. Next up, I'd love to introduce you all to Tutoring with the Lightning Squad, which is a small group web-based tutoring program that accelerates reading achievement among students in grades 1 through 6. It has earned a Tier 1 strong evidence ESSA rating, having undergone 3 randomized control trials with positive impact on reading outcomes. Development of the Tutoring with the Lightning Squad was supported by the Department of Ed's Small Business SBIR program, and ongoing evaluation is supported by an IES efficacy grant. Let's learn more about Tutoring with the Lightning Squad.
Welcome to Tutoring with the Lightning Squad, a technology-assisted small group reading intervention in a game-like setting.
The Lightning Squad enables struggling readers in grades 1 to 3 to achieve grade-level proficiency by developing skills in fluency, phonics, word blending, spelling, vocabulary, and comprehension. Students practice the skills as they read progressively challenging stories.
We can eat the cupcakes.
A computer-aided assessment determines initial story placement.
Then students engage in story-related activities with a partner, taking turns as the reader and the coach.
A paraprofessional tutor supports small groups of students and assesses their progress.
What I think is most exciting about our Lightning Squad project is that it's completely state-of-the-art technologically, but it's based on practices that Success for All has been perfecting over the years.
To reduce the cost of tutoring, the Lightning Squad is built on a research-proven model developed by Success for All, in which a paraprofessional tutor monitors and guides small groups of students.
A paraprofessional and peers with the technology has way more impact than just technology by itself.
The Lightning Squad adds to the model engaging videos, songs, and interactive games, exactly matched to each child's needs. Tutoring with the Lightning Squad is just one example of a research-proven tutoring approach. It is one of 14 founding members of Proven Tutoring, an initiative dedicated to bringing tutoring solutions that have been proven to work to classrooms. These programs provide a range of effective reading and math tutoring models for grades K through 10. All of these programs are delivered by tutors possessing a college degree and extensive training. All of these programs offer continuous professional development and supervision to tutors to ensure program fidelity and student success. Information about these tutoring models and how they can serve schools can be found on www.proventutoring.org. This site provides clear, detailed information about proven, rigorously tested, cost-effective tutoring models for reading and mathematics in grades K through 10. A key goal of Proven Tutoring is to grow the coalition membership. Interested organizations can submit evidence for a full review to info@proventutoring.org. You can learn more about Proven Tutoring at an upcoming webinar. You can visit the website to register. You can learn more about tutoring with the Lightning Squad at the Success for All Foundation website. You can find out more about Serious Thinking at their website.
Wonderful. Thank you to Tutoring with the Lightning Squad and for also making us aware of that incredible resource, proventutoring.org. I loved seeing the small group super engaging, using the science of reading to support students' reading achievement and literacy outcomes. Thank you so much to the developers and the researcher teams who shared their work with us today. All 4 of the developers and researchers that we featured undertook significant work to adapt their interventions and models after COVID-19 emerged to be ready for use in remote settings, including to be used for remote tutoring. We thank you all for responding to this urgent need. I'd like to introduce you all to Mark Schneider, who will share a little more about IES's work in this area and provide us with some closing remarks. Mark serves as the director of IES and brings a depth of experience in research and evaluation. We're lucky to have him leading IES at this critical time. Mark, over to you.
Well, thank you. This has been an amazing session. To see what AmeriCorps is doing is amazing. And I'm so pleased that we are supporting so many good interventions. So we know that the pandemic has wreaked havoc on many communities, especially low-income, low-resource communities. And we at IES are working really hard to identify the means of helping students and communities overcome the learning losses, and to recover from the effects of the pandemic. We are particularly interested in identifying projects that work and interventions that work, and finding out how those interventions work for whom. So our mantra at IES is identifying what works for whom under what conditions, and that is how we are hoping to help contribute to the recovery from learning loss. This requires that we invest in interventions that have evidence, and then most importantly, we try to make sure that these interventions that have evidence of success are scaled up so that they could affect and improve conditions in ever larger communities and groups of students. So I'm really pleased that this expo has highlighted 4 of our most successful programs, and each of these 4 projects has undergone extensive research demonstrating the efficacy of their approach. So this is fundamentally important. We support things that work. Each one has developed a technology platform that allows the intervention or approach to be delivered at scale. And again, fundamentally important, we want interventions that can be scaled up and affect large numbers of communities, schools, and students. And each employs a unique model to build capacity for tutoring programs that can be delivered to accelerate learning for students in remote in-school settings. I wish we had more programs that meet this criteria, but we're working really hard to expand that list of programs that meet these successful criteria. And what I think these 4 programs show is that IES can make smart investments, especially through the SBIR, the Small Business Innovation Research Program, to bring programs to life. At IES, we collaborate with agencies such as AmeriCorps and we collaborate with universities, we collaborate with other funders to build the capacity for models and for testing these interventions. We care, again, about evidence-based interventions, ones that have proven levels of success. We know that if an intervention works in a particular subset of a population or with a certain group of students, that doesn't mean that it's going to work for larger groups of students. And we need to scale these up, and then we need to test the fit between these programs and different groups of students and different types of schools and communities. It is within our role to support the kind of scaling up, the testing and scaling up of interventions to identify what works for whom under what conditions. Let's hope that our portfolio of successful interventions continues to grow, and that maybe next year we'll have more than 4 programs that we could highlight. Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you so much, Mark. Really appreciate it. And thank you to everyone for coming this evening. It's been just so inspiring to hear from 8 grantees across the programs. And I just thank you all for joining. And as Mark said, there's much to do to ensure that we scale up programs that work and that we continue to learn from the efforts to scale those programs. We wanted to make sure to emphasize the evidence-based practice, and as you all are embarking on tutoring programs and trying to figure out the best ways to accelerate learning in your local communities, we encourage you to reach out to the programs that we profiled today because they do have such strong levels of evidence. We really appreciate the partnership with AmeriCorps for this event, and we look forward to continued collaboration as we work together to support recovery from COVID-19. If you out there, as you're watching, if you are currently utilizing a tutoring as a strategy and it aligns to the evidence-informed components that we shared earlier, we ask you to consider sharing your work via Ed's Best Practices Clearinghouse. We recently launched a clearinghouse, and we encourage folks to submit the great work that they're doing from across the country so that we can further learn and highlight the great work. I just want to, again, thank you for joining. I learned so much from this conversation. I am inspired about the work ahead. And I know that together, all of our agencies and all of our grantees, we will continue to make an impact as we work towards recovering from COVID-19. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to continuing the conversation with you all. Have a great evening.